I'm here in Athens and I'm meeting Erik. Hey Erik.
Hi.
Who runs a vegan Airbnb, and we're just going to have a quick look at the Airbnb. So this is the kitchen, his pet cat, and then the room itself. Super beautiful. Right in the center of Athens.
That's right.
And we'll just go quickly.
This is the kind of common area.
Common area.
Coffee here, dinner.
Super.
And I'll show you the balcony as well.
Nice. Swing. Ooh, nature outside. Oh, it's like a park.
Exactly. Little courtyard out here.
Very nice. Super. And this is a treat. It is a modern style bathroom with an American shower, which you do not always find in Athens. So I am here with Erik the Canadian, and we call him the Globetrotting Canadian because Erik's strategy is not just to move to a country, it's to move to a country every 5 to 10 years to really immerse himself in the culture. So Erik, tell us a little bit about your move, first to Israel, then to Prague, and most recently to Greece.
That's right, yes. So Israel was the first time leaving Canada. I went there when I was kind of in my late 20s, and it was really just to get to know the family that was living there. I've always been very interested by the language, Hebrew as well, so I wanted to study that. I did some translation work when I was there as well, and I got involved in the logistics industry with shipping as well. So so that was for 5 years. Then I moved to the Czech Republic and based myself in Prague, and I was there for about 10 years, continued working in logistics, but also I started hosting people from around the world. So this kind of opened a new door for me in terms of having people come and stay with me, getting to meet people from different parts of the world. And this got me more interested in the idea of hosting with a bed and breakfast, something along those lines. I became vegan when I was in Prague as well, and so I kind of combined these two interests, hosting people with veganism, and decided to open a vegan bed and breakfast, which I did for a couple of years in Prague, before eventually moving to Greece, which is what I run now here.
And tell us a little bit about your move to Greece. What prompted a move? I mean, Prague is nice. The weather is quite different than Greece. I don't know if that was one of the motivating factors, but tell us about your decision-making process.
Yeah, it definitely was one of the factors, the weather. I had also been in Prague for 10 years, so I sort of felt like I was ready for a change. It's a beautiful city and a beautiful country, but the winters do get quite gray and gloomy, and so I decided to come to Southern Europe. I wasn't sure if it was going to be Greece or Spain or Italy. I was sort of scouting possible locations, but ultimately decided on Greece. It's close to Israel, so if I want to go back for visits, it's in the same kind of general proximity. And I had a friend in Prague as well who basically gave me a little bit of a start in getting set up here in Greece as well too. So those factors helped as well. And for the first couple of years I was doing maybe half a year in Athens, half a year in Prague, until I eventually moved a couple of years ago to be full-time here.
And I think a lot of people listening to this video, one of their big questions is, how do I start a new life? So you're moving from a country you've known, a place that you've been in, and you're going into a different culture with a different language, and probably you're not going to know very many people. Mm-hmm. You've gotten pretty good at this. You've done it 3 times.
I don't know if I'm good at it or just getting more used to it, but certainly it does take a little bit of time, and that's what I would always tell people, is to be a little bit patient. Don't expect things to come super quickly, especially if it's, like you said, a new culture, or there's going to be some bureaucracy that you're maybe not familiar with. Reach out to people as soon as possible when you do arrive somewhere. I always recommend people to go to meetup groups or to go to some sort of gatherings that will have a mixture of locals and foreigners. People who have been there for 3, 4, 5 years, they will already have some experience. and can give you a lot of tips. And also it's just good to have other friends in the place to be able to have a bit of a support network for the days that don't maybe go so well. So.
And have you noticed a difference, like now with Meetup is online, Facebook groups, there's so much online kind of opportunity to find community. Have you felt like the move to Greece was easier than maybe the move from Israel to Prague because of that, or has it been the same? Or
It's definitely helped a lot. I would say in Prague there was still meetup groups there too, but maybe not as prevalent as they are now. And certainly the move to Israel, it was a very different time where not everybody had a smartphone, and there wasn't very easy to connect to people. I was also in a much smaller city at that time too, so that also played a factor. But I would say over time it's getting much easier. The flip side, sometimes people are maybe spending too much time online and too much remote, especially in the pandemic. So there's been a lot of virtual meetups as well, but I would say even those are better than not having contact at all. So, yeah.
And tell us a little bit about your, what your day is like. I know that you've got what we kind of call a portfolio career. So this idea you've got multiple revenue streams.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about what's your daily rhythm like?
Sure, yeah. Well, this was actually an idea that I had been told when I was traveling in South America, and I met somebody in Ecuador who was spending his day part of the time teaching Spanish, part of the time hosting Airbnb, which is how I met him, by booking a room, and I think he had one or two other sort of side jobs, and he was explaining to me how this had gave his day a lot of variety, and I sort of emulated that path in setting up my life as well. So I teach English, I do English editing, occasional English writing, plus I manage the all-vegan bed and breakfast in Athens. And in terms of how my day goes, I usually start around 7 or 8 in the morning. I'll teach for around 5 to 6 hours, and then I'll prepare for the evening to have guests coming. If I already have a guest, of course, then I can have the free time in the evening. But those are the typical days, yeah. Okay,
so it sounds like a really nice balance of teaching English online, having a little bit of a break to do your, hobbies and interests.
Right.
And then hosting whoever's coming for the evening or preparing the place.
Absolutely. And by meeting new people too, I also get a lot of new ideas about places that I want to visit as well. So in the times that I take off, then I can also go and travel, and it's quite funny too, because many people coming to Greece have done a lot of research of the places they want to go, so even though I'm the host here in Greece, oftentimes I will also learn a lot from them about where, what they are going to go see and what places they recommend, because they often do more research than I do.
So on that note, give us the top 2 or 3 things that you love about living in Greece, and then tell us the top thing that you really, are challenged by. What's hard?
Okay. I love Greece because there's just such a variety in landscapes. I mean, here in Athens, we're obviously very close to the sea, so I love swimming in the spring, in the summer. I love being able to get to islands very quickly and enjoy that element of Greece. But at the same time, we're only a couple of hours away from a ski resort, for example. So a week ago, I got to go snowboarding. And so I think this is something that I really enjoy about living here, is having this variety of climates and variety of activities. Also, the Greek people I find are very warm, very friendly, very open and willing to help. Most of them speak a reasonable amount of English in terms of who I've encountered. And if I have questions or something like that, I find that they are quite helpful and friendly, maybe more so than Central or Northern Europe. The challenging parts, of course, I'm still working on the language, and there are times that I wish things would be a little bit smoother. Some of the more bureaucratic elements in terms of going to the bank, post office. They have a citizen center here where you have to go often for a number of documents. During the vaccination process, for example, this was a very, very slow rollout to foreigners here, where Greeks were getting vaccinated at a much quicker pace. So that was certainly a little bit frustrating, but overall I understand it's part of the challenge of living somewhere that's not your home country, and communicating in a tongue that's not your native tongue.
Perfect. let's talk for a minute about being vegan in Greece.
Sure, yeah.
You and I went to Yi a few weeks ago, and we'll show some of the dishes that we had there. But Yi is a raw vegan restaurant outside of Athens.
Greece is maybe not quite as prevalent in terms of vegan restaurants and options as maybe some of the other countries in Europe. Coming from Czech Republic, which had, in Prague there was probably upwards of 40 or 50 vegan cafes or restaurants. Here there's maybe 10 or 12, but I do see that it's growing. It is increasing.
One final question. If someone's listening to your video and thinking, hey, Athens is on my list of places I might want to relocate to, I'd love to come for a visit. Mm-hmm. I'd love to stay at Erics Airbnb, but I'm not vegan. Right. Can they do that?
Yes, that's definitely possible. You don't have to be vegan here. I do ask that you don't consume animal products while staying with me, but I'm happy to host you regardless of your diet, and I can make you a vegan breakfast as well, and maybe introduce some of the things that I enjoy. I don't provide lots of propaganda or anything like that too. So you're welcome to come and enjoy and relax and hopefully have a pleasant stay.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Anything
Thank
else?
you.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you.